Greetings, church. It is 9:37 p.m. and I am at the PSU library right now, and I'm using their internet site. They usually give me 5 to 10 minutes to use it, and then they cut it out completely. Let's see here. I have to give you this information because of what transpired today. Earlier today, I gave you guys a video. Duclairon deals with dishonest gain, and I just uploaded it a few minutes ago. I just got done talking to the police department, a bike cop, and he didn't exactly take the report, but he took the information. I didn't even give him my name, so he doesn't even know who I am. I just blurted out a few things that's been going on, and that was it. What led me to the police department was Melinda. She basically says, you need to go to the police with this. I was asleep on my bed and I was pierced in the right foot, so I woke up in pain. Before that, I was at the Safeway in the Pearl District, and I had just gotten done eating some food that I purchased, and got into a sort of like a with one of the workers, but it wasn't direct, it was indirect. They have a new bar that's been built within inside of the Safeway restaurant near the hot food area, and I think the guy there was Marianne, which was my mother's name, but he had her face. They've been using her face quite a bit recently, the whole series of them. I'm not exactly sure who these people are, but it's almost like he was like nitpicking at me and trying to get me out of the area because he didn't want me to eat in the area. It's almost like I brought the area down or something. And so to deliver myself from any harm, I did this. And also, there came a couple with a kid. The kid looked like the security guard. The security guard, I had to insult and call him a retard. Even though he wasn't, I had to insult because of what was being communicated and the verbal confrontation that we had. The verses on here, Psalms 15, is God saying he owns everything, which you already know. 1 John 2, 15 to 17 says, do not love the world. And Romans 5:8 says that God loved us and died on the cross for us. If you want to know what those videos, what these verses are all about, just go to the videos that I had uploaded recently at the Pittock Mansion, and the whole thing is there. So, in my defense, this is what I used against basically the indirect racism or that was going on at Safeway. When I got out of the store after eating and was waiting for the train to go, the MAX train to go up 10th Avenue back to my apartment, I got on and I sat down, and in the distance, in the middle of the train, sat a woman with a snake. She had the snake wrapped around her hand, and all you could see is the body. Couldn't see the head and couldn't see the tail, but it was pretty obvious. And I had been warned several times at Labor Ready through different workers. I was working in Beaverton a while back, last week, and a snake, they gave me one indirectly as I was going to work. They gave me several hints, little serpents. They gave me a job where I was digging holes, and it was nothing but worms, just nothing but worms. So I knew it was coming. I just got done with some straw wattle yesterday, big straw wattle that looks like anacondas. And the guy that I was working with I remember, he's a Texan or New Yorker or something. He, both he and I were calling the straw wattle snakes. But it was, and of course he was supposed to remind me of Guy Franklin, John MacArthur, and one other person, the dentist from North Russell Dental. This was the second reminder, and of course I had already sent them a check for $128. And so those two jobs and cases basically led up to the snake that I got today, and it was indirect. But every night though, or anytime I'm asleep in the apartment, they're sticking needles in my feet, my right foot. Sort of like, here's the foot, and on the side right here, stick it in. And when I wake up, it is excruciatingly painful. And remember, I can hear Gabriel and Melinda, so they're basically saying that the reason why Gabriel does that, and it includes the sex, is because she doesn't want them to give me the snake. In other words, she'll give me the oral sex and the piercing, but I don't get the snake while she's here. I don't know any of this. This is all community. If I was to title this, it would be No Snake, this video. It would be No Snake, No Submission, and No Slavery. Okay? This is what I had intended to give to the police department. I had written it down. I needed to give them the shorter version of what was going on. Let's see here. I was supposed to tell them that I didn't want to go to jail, which was a threat that came out of Safeway. I didn't want to get shot, which was with a gun, which was also a threat that came out of the worker who came out of Vancouver yesterday when I was working with the straw line. He didn't say he was going to shoot me. He just said that he had a gun, and I wasn't sure because he was wondering if I had a knife. I don't know. It's sort of like very subtle, you know, very subtle. He didn't really want to work with me. It was more or less, I sort of felt like he was doing things just to see what my response was going to be, you know, sort of like, so there was like two sides to this guy. And I don't want to elaborate because he gave me a ride yesterday. We didn't end as enemies, but it was the hints that I couldn't pick up on. You know, someone could smile and, you know, it's like, hey, how are you? Sort of like that, you know. Of course, I don't want to get my teeth removed, 3 of them or 4 of them. I don't want to lose them here or in the back. And lastly, I don't want to be snaked. So no jail, no getting shot with a gun, no removal of teeth, and no snake. And of course, you know about the slavery issue, where they told me I'm no longer allowed to, and you know, with the men, and therefore I need to leave. They didn't do it directly. Everything has been indirect. Nothing has been direct. The only, I think, direct thing that they did was stick the needle in my feet and left me in pain. I'm going to show you a series of documents. This was the report that I was trying to give to the police department. Remember this letter here? This is the letter that I was given with Cascade. The ultimatum that by the 27th of April, if I don't remedy the situation with the manager, I'm out of there. Okay? And I think that was remedied. We're no longer quarreling with each other. Manager and I are not fighting one another. Then there was the bill for the dentist, North Russell. Here's the receipt. And there's the receipt. Let's see it. That's the bill right there. And here's the check that goes with it. So there's the check and there's the bill. Okay, we can see it. Alright. It's kind of hard, isn't it? Okay. So, and that was the position that they took after this was given to me. So, and of course they were coming into my mouth and cutting it, scraping it, sticking needles in the tongue, cutting me on top of my mouth. So that was the position that they had taken after I was given the warning. I ended up going back to Labor Ready so that I could pay off this. So I went back to working for Labor Ready so that I could pay this off. They haven't taken the money yet from the account, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I was sent to go to 4 months ago. 4 months ago, when I was working for Labor Ready out of the Portland office, the manager there had sent me, giving me an address that was way out there, and I felt like I needed to take a break after that, because the address didn't lead me to the place. It led me 4 miles away, 3 or 4 miles away, and I literally had to walk the 3 or 4 miles away. I had called them and told them, I'm sorry, I don't have the means to get to the job, and he says, well, get there, because the work needs to be done. I got there about an hour later after walking 3 to 4 miles through the wood, not through the woods, but on a paved surface where there's no sidewalk, sort of like all backwoods, woods on the right, woods on the left, up the hill, sort of like in the boonies, right, where there was no buildings and only a few vehicles. Any animal could have come out and bitten me, killed me, whatever. I took that as a warning. It was raining, it was cold, it was dark, and the last thing I needed was to be attacked by the Klan, the gay community, and their animals. So the counsel that I got was, don't go back. So I didn't go back, and I tried to file charges against the manager, or to try to bring up the issue of how to resolve this thing, because I felt like we were going in this direction against each other. And basically, after weeks of investigation, they told me they didn't have enough information for me to file charges or bring up the issues. So I said, okay. So I went looking for work in other establishments, and I couldn't get any work. So 3-4 months passes by, and then I get hit with this because I tried to file a report against what Gabriel was doing in the apartment, or what the Klan was doing, the gay community, John MacArthur, and pretty much everybody that's been coming in and out of the apartment. When I'm not there, or when I'm asleep, it's almost like there's another tenant or several other tenants living there besides myself. So after the 4 months of basically no work, nothing, after this, I was hit with this charge. So that brought me back to working for Labor Ready. And then the threats began at the Beaverton. The different jobs that I went to, they were solid hits. I mean, I can't sit here and explain the details. They were just solid hits. And it was obvious what they were communicating, and for the most part, I couldn't do anything about it. But eventually, Beaverton, as a city, caught on to what was going on, and they inched their way out to let me know that they know what was going on. The police started buzzing. I didn't respond to them, Portland and Beaverton, and I basically tried to keep them out of it because I wasn't going to get anything but arrested. So I figured, well, I'm not going to go to jail again for making a report, and then for me not to be able to resolve this entire thing. So anyway, today I was sent, yesterday after I was done working with the company that had the straw water, when I got there, the worker behind the desk asked me if I wanted to go to a job site, okay, which was in northwest Portland. I said, sure, I'll go. I had completely forgotten that I had an appointment with Aging and Disability. It's for the EBT card, the food stamp, and I had to reinstate, sort of like reapply and it's an interview process where you go through the application and give them all the information and answer a bunch of questions. I guess I could have done it at the end of May, but I didn't know the time frame, so I didn't want to take the chance. So I went to the job site. Now here's the thing. A few minutes ago I just told you that my last job with Labor Ready in Portland was because they sent me on a way out there in the boonies. Today they did the same thing again. Now it's out of the Beaverton office, where apparently they have control over the computer, and when you type in an address, all of the information doesn't come up, or all of the information comes up but partly. It's sort of like a 50-50 50% of the information. The address, this is the map that I was given. This is the map that I was given. Okay. Alright. This is what the map should have been. Okay. So, right there. This is where I got off the bus. Here. Right there. I walked down the hill to here. I should have made a turn here. Instead, I ended up going straight. Yep. Straight here. This right here is about a 10-block walk. This right here is 10 blocks. And the instructions specifically said, continue, when you get to the street, continue, and I will find the address or the street that I was looking for. So when I got here, this street here, Yeon, didn't become St. Helens. I left St. Helens behind here, but there's no sign here saying that this is St. Helens Road, Northwest St. Helens Road, or St. Helens Astoria, which is way over here. So I had to walk 10 blocks here, make a turn, and then this is, I don't know how many miles stretch from here to here, and then up the hill here to get to the space here. Okay, so this entire, so I'm coming from here, walking, okay, I'm coming from here, walk down the hill, all the way to here, and this in itself is about probably a good mile, or half a mile, maybe a quarter of a mile, right, walk, then up the hill. There was police activity here. There was about 3 or 4 police cars. I don't know what was going on. It looks like somebody drove their vehicle in a patch of not shrub, but like this big I can't think of the name of it. But in any case, they drove into something like trees and things, and apparently they jumped out of the car and kept on running, and the police was after them. There was helicopter activity. There's at least 4 or 5 cars. I didn't see anyone. I just saw the police, and they had directed me to cross the street and to keep going. So when I got to Yeon, I spoke to a woman here, and she told me that it's this way. She wasn't familiar with the area, so I walked from here, the Starbucks on Yeon, all the way to here to Kittredge, from the Starbucks in Yeon and this street here and Kittredge. And then at Kittredge there was a sign that says St. Helens Road, and then I went up, back up again, and then got the address here. But the key is that the map, the information here, when you read it, it says here, head west, and then continue. See the word here? Continue. It doesn't say make a left turn. to St. Helens Road. It doesn't say make a left turn to St. Helens Road, and it doesn't say that Nikolai and Ward Way turns into St. Helens, which is what it should have said. It says continue. See, head west on North Nikolai toward Ward Way, and then continue onto Northwest St. Helens. It doesn't say turn left. What just entered my mind is head west on Nikolai is it should have been where I made my turn, but it didn't say turn. You see here where it says turn left. It did say turn, it says continue. You see? It says turn right or turn left. It didn't say turn left. It just says continue. So just one word can change the entire map. Well, anyway, I got there at 7:30, so I was late. I did some work. Basically all I had to do was dust walls. I did the work, and got back to the office, debriefed, explained to the workers what had happened, to the worker that had sent me what had happened, and the manager told me that I guess I was given a warning that I was not to take an 8-hour job and then only work for 4 hours. I had prior engagements that I had completely forgotten about, and I don't have a phone. My phone was stolen, so I couldn't call. I guess I could have called. I could use the payphone, but I didn't. And it was already late, so I went and only worked for 4 hours and was released. When I got home, I found and of course the man that I was working for was almost a replica of my father, who is deceased, which I thought that was very interesting. I'm not exactly sure how this community finds those people that looks like my parents, like my mother and my father. I'm not exactly sure if I'm to trust those people or not, because sometimes they come out on my side and other times they don't. So I don't really know what's going on with this whole community thing. Bottom line is, when I got home, I found my cabinets open, and I also found the office area door open. They left some subliminal messages. I tried to give an incident report to the manager here, but I couldn't because he was interviewing a tenant. So I went back upstairs and put the incident report on the desk. I also, and on my way up, this man came up, had blood in his hands. I guess he was supposed to remind me of a Guy Franklin. I don't know why he had blood in his hands. I didn't ask him any questions. I guess I just felt really bad for the guy. I had put this on my window sill, right there. This is what I had put against my window sill. And I left the building to go meet with Mariana, who was at Aging and Disability here. Okay. I met with her for about an hour. We talked. I gave her the whole spiel. I told her everything that's been going on since 2012. Now here's the catch. Mariana is a white American woman, and her face is the face of a combination of Gabriel Franklin, Mary Ann, my mother, and also Melissa Wolf from Grace Community Church. So I sort of felt like I was dealing with three different groups of people. I was dealing with my own mother out of Haiti, Gabriel out of New York, and Melissa out of Grace Community Church. Now, she didn't do anything wrong to me. So she took the interview, and she was the caseworker, case manager, and I given her all the information. And I had to sign all this paperwork. And after that, I went over to Safeway, right? I went over to Safeway, and when I got there, this is when this happened, right? Made some purchases. They were watching me pretty closely, and sort of like one of those ordeals. This is my receipt for the food I purchased. And when I left, I got on the train, and I was heading home, and then out of nowhere, the woman comes with a serpent, but it wasn't this size. It was about 2 feet long. It was about 2 feet long in length, and it was wrapped. See, I'm going to wrap this around my finger, right? And what is it that you don't see? You don't see the head, but it was wrapped around her hips. So no head and no tail, which was very different than the snake that they had given me in Beaverton, working for this other company. And it wasn't direct, it was indirect, in a distance. After all of that had happened with Safeway, and I basically was walking around verbally, these people, the establishment, the community. I got on the train. When I saw the snake, I walked out, and nobody hissed. I went to another train stop and took another train. This Anglo-American came and sat next to me. He had a black jacket, blue jeans, dark, and he looked more from the back. He looked like a John McLaughlin. He had a bald spot, and all of his hair white and down. I was told to get out of there, so I did. So they sent some other people to talk and to hit and to warn and to hiss and to continue the against me and me against them. And they got home and laid down because I was exhausted, trying to read some scripture, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. Fell asleep, and then when I woke up, I stuck the needle in my foot, right foot. So this sign here was overlooked. The sign that I had just shown you. This sign here was overlooked, and it's as if I hadn't even put it on the window, where they would have climbed through the window to get into the apartment to stick the needle in my foot. I explained that to Mariana, and for some reason or another, they've been using a lot of people that look like my mother. I don't know if it means that she's dead. I don't know if it means that she knows what's going on, or if this is the way the community deals with internationals. And I told Mariana that this isn't fair, because I was going in my own direction, and these people basically came out of nowhere with all of this. So, church, I don't know what to tell you, but I have a feeling that some of this information is going to have an effect in the community on your side. I don't know how. I was warned to go down the hill and give the information to the police department, and when I did, and when I got there, the police was waiting, but they were giving information. I guess they were getting information from someone else. There were two officers there, one in a vehicle and one on a bike. The bike cop was taking I guess, taken the information from the person that they had stopped. And it was sort of like a double message. And if I had read into it, I would have seen a completely different side. I don't read that side because I don't go in that direction. And so a third cop came out of the corner, out of 2nd Avenue, and I approached him briefly and told him not even a percentage of what I'm telling you here. And basically, I've skipped a ton of information, but in a synopsis, in a sort of like in a nutshell, this is basically, I just told him that, you know, I just got out of aging and disability, went to Safeway, and was given a snake. And if they don't give it to you right then and there when you're, they told me that there was a second snake. If I had remained in the train, she would have thrown the second one at me, and then eventually the first one. So it was a smaller serpent that I couldn't see. And when I had gotten into the second train, I asked the conductor. There was a switch of conductors. I asked the conductor, are people allowed to have snakes on the train? I've heard of snakes on a plane, but snakes on a train, and he says no, unless they have, unless they're carried in some sort of they have to be carried in a container of some sort, and they're, what do you call those animals? Not seeing eye dogs, but those animals that can sort of like help you. And I said, well, how can a snake do that? Right? Help anybody. I mean, it's a deadly, viperous. Anyway, apparently 2 people had called the police after I was gone, and that was that. But I guess the bottom line is the fact that the snake is emerging, and the hits have not stopped with Gabriel. The sex has not stopped. The threats have not stopped. The constant eating of my flesh, sticking needles in my feet, and the money being garnished from my checks. And I don't know this for sure, because it's been going on for so long. Sex being given to me that I don't want. Prodding, force, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, this is how the day has progressed. I don't know how they as a community is going to continue with this information. But I can't go to any specific. There was another snake occurrence. The black one that I saw at on the ground at the Presbyterian church on the sidewalk. I dealt with that earlier this morning, and I saw that over in the vision. So these people are emerging. I don't know who's going to get hit. I don't have any control over the hits. I have no idea who's behind it. I don't know if it's the government, the Klan, the gay community, some bad church. I don't know. And so if anybody, and I've seen the blood of the tenants at the apartment, and I've seen the blood of people that I've had to work with at the from Beaverton, and I'm thinking, you know, I don't want the police department to come after me with their guns. When I was on the train yesterday, after dealing with the straw bottle and all the other responsibilities, the police department surprised me and got on the train. And when they got on the train, and this is from Beaverton or Hillsborough police. Beaverton police, when they arrest you, they take you to Hillsborough, Washington County, I think it is, or Washington County Jail, and that's where they put you in incarceration. 2 officers got on. One was tall, one was short, and they were checking for IDs. When he was standing directly above me, I showed him both IDs, and then when he got to me, it's almost like it was a repeat. He's like, you know, you need to show me your ID. And I was just like, hey, this is assault, you know, harassment. And I showed him both sides. And then when and then as he passed by, he went and stood in the middle of the train. And then he did that thing with his heel, or, you know, let's say this is the foot here, to show me that he was a Gabriel. I don't know what side Gabriel is on. I don't think she's a friend. She might tell you differently. I don't take the sex and the judgment as being friendly. I don't take it as a come on. All of these women representing Gabriel, I think they're being given part information, not full information. That means African women, Asian women, Spanish women, white women, Haitian women. You know, and now they're switching from Gabriel to my mother. So I don't know what's going on. But if I come to church on Sunday mornings and this enters into the church congregation, it's not going to be the church, it's going to be the community. And I don't understand why both are under the same roof. I don't understand why both are under the same roof. We're a Bible-believing church, and we preach Christ and Him crucified. Why are these unbelieving homosexuals and Klansmen bringing their community into our fellowship? Or is the fellowship ours to begin with? You know, and I don't understand these people and what they're doing. The university here can hear me, so everybody who has ears to hear, I'm sure they can hear everything that I'm testifying here and saying. But I put all of this out there for those of you who are in the body and who knows the situation and who either have been hit, will be hit, or whose lives are going to be affected, because everything happens like a domino effect, and you don't know where it's coming from. Is it coming from God Himself, or is it coming from the devil? We don't know, but things are done. Disobedience is carried out, and men are being hurt, killed. So I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this thought and give you something to consider, because of the nature of how things have transpired out of New York State and to California, Washington, now Oregon. I don't know where else we're going to go with this situation, and where it goes from here. Just watch your back, watch your back. The community means their threats and their actions. You know, even if they're inching their way out there, they mean what they say. And so we have to be prepared to respond to everything on every level. Right? So, no snakes, no submission, no slavery. I don't think the Lord would have it that way. I think the Lord would have it that way. That's why He died on the cross.